Here we are, boys, back to our regularly scheduled slop that the UFC spoon feeds us. This is some fucking whiplash after the banger card last week, and we have to endure this garbage. Now, I'm going to try to make this somewhat fast, or I'm not even going to attempt to make it, it's just going to come out that way, because I already don't review tape and go into the specifics of the fight when I like the card, and I really don't like this card, so I don't give a shit. There's a couple of fighters on here that I don't even know, and I'm not gonna go watch their fights. Can't be fucked. So let's get into it. First fight on the card: Jamie Lynn Horth versus Ivana Petrovic. Don't know who either of these gals are. I think I watched the fight cards that they were on, but I remember nothing about them. Not gonna go watch their fights, and yep, probably just going to flip a coin for this one. The coin flip says Ivana, and I'm alright with that because that's an underdog pick. So going with Ivana Petrovic by split decision. Second fight on the card, Chad Anheliger versus Cody Gibson. I'm going to go with Chad Anheliger. I think he gets slept on a little bit. He's not great by any means, but he's not as bad as people think he is. He's going to be quite undersized in this matchup. He's got a 4-inch height disadvantage and a 7-inch reach disadvantage. But I don't really believe in Cody Gibson. I think he's kind of a can. So, going with Anheliger by, I don't know, either a late third round finish or a decision. Third fight on the card, Sergey Sidey and Garrett Armfield. I'm going to go with Sergey. Just felt the fact that he has a higher finishing potential and he has the height and reach advantage. Never been impressed with Garrett Armfield. Another fight that I really don't give a shit about. I'm not going to say any more about it. Fourth fight on the card, Alexander Romanov versus Rodrigo Nascimento. I'm going to go with Rodrigo Nascimento. I think he's less of a blob and more likely to get a finish on the feet. Romanov could lay on him and just be a blob, but I get sick of fucking picking fights like that. I hate that shit. Can't trust his fucking 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag look of his body. So yeah, I'm going to go with Nascimento. I don't know, second round KO. Fifth fight on the card, Jack Shore versus Yusuf Zalal. Finally, a fight that's actually pretty decent. I'm going to go with Yusuf Zalal. I think he is a little more dangerous. Jack Shore's not bad, but I think he's undersized at featherweight, in my opinion. And yeah, I've been impressed with Zalal's 2 performances inside of the octagon. He's on quite the finish streak currently. At least I think he is. He might have a decision mixed in there somewhere, but I'm fairly certain he's on a finish streak. Let me check. Yeah, he's on a 5-fight finish streak. And he's never been finished himself, and Jack Shore has, and recently. So I'm picking Zalal, third round submission. Sixth fight on the card, Charles Jourdain versus Victor Henry. I'm going to go with Victor Henry. I think Charles Jourdain is the definition of overrated. How the fuck are you bringing Kron Gracie to a decision? That is insane. You should be killing Kron Gracie in round 1. Anytime he fights anyone half decent, he loses. And Victor Henry's looked good so far. So, going with Victor Henry by decision. Seventh fight on the card, Ariana Da Silva versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. This is a very coin flip fight. I think they're both around the same skill level. I'm assuming it's going to go to decision, but if it doesn't and there is a finish, it's also kind of coin flippy because Jasmine's never been finished. Ariana has been finished, but in terms of the potential for a finish, it's kind of flipped the opposite way where Jasmine doesn't have nearly as high of a finishing potential as Ariana, but she's tougher. So, I don't know. Fuck it, I'm going to choose another underdog. I'm going to say Ariana Da Silva by split decision. Headliner of the prelims, Amin Zahabi versus Pedro Munoz. I'm going to go with Amin Zahabi. I think Pedro is a little too one-dimensional. Pretty much only a kickboxer. And every other of his skills are just alright. They're not bad, but they're not great. Amin Zahabi will be able to mix it up when he needs to and stay safe for 3 rounds. Outpoint Pedro. The ninth fight and the opener of the main card, Mike Malott versus Trevin Giles. If Mike Malott can stay composed, keep his cardio, and not lose his head, he gets this fight done easy. I don't think much of Trevin Giles. He's alright, but He's finishable. Although, if he can put together some clean shots on Mike Malott, I will be worried for his chin. He did get KO'd in like 2016 or something by Hakeem Dawodu, who's a featherweight. I know he's a big featherweight, but that still makes me worry for his chin. Still going with Mike Malott, though, by decision. 10th fight on the card, Marc-Andre Barriault versus Dustin Soltzfus. I'm going to go with Marc-Andre Barriault by decision. I think he's a step ahead in the striking compared to Dustin. Dustin is also a bit chinnier, although Marc-Andre Barriault did just get finished by Pfeiffer. Well, and Dustin got finished by Fajea. I guess you can kind of debate on who's chinnier, really, but I like Barriault more than Soltzfus. Never been really impressed with him. 11th fight on the card, Caio Machado versus Brinson Ribeiro. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I barely remember either of these guys, to be honest, and when I looked at their records, it kind of jogged my memory a bit. Caio Machado is fucking dog shit. If you're getting decisioned by Mick Parkin and... Fuck, I've already forgot who else it was. Let me see. Dontel Mays? Yeah. No, can't pick you. Might not be getting finished, but you're getting decisioned by those two fucking jobbers. So, I'm going with Ribeiro, I guess by decision himself. 12th fight on the card, Derek Lewis versus Renato Diniz. This is a big step up for Renato Diniz. I'm kind of shocked that Derek Lewis has looked really bad, but still, Renato Diniz is a favorite. And I don't think he's ready for this. I think Derek Lewis is going to potentially even get it done early. Renato Diniz, even though he looked good in his 3 fights, he was still getting tagged up at points. Like, he was getting hit. And you can't be getting hit by Derek Lewis. Yeah, I'm looking at the stats for the Austin Lane fight that Renato Diniz was in, and he took 43 strikes from Austin Lane, and it shows a bit of control times, and I don't remember that fight. It's been a fucking while. I just can't trust him to have that big of a step up in competition. His last fight was against Carl Williams. I don't think much of Carl Williams or Austin Lane. I know Derek Lewis hasn't looked the greatest, but still going with Derek Lewis by, the first half of the fight, at some point getting a finish. In the co-main event, Erin Blanchfield versus Rose Namajunas. I'm going with Rose Namajunas. She's the best point fighter, and I just don't see Erin Blanchfield being able to finish this in a 3-round fight. Maybe if it was a 5-round fight, I still don't doubt, or I doubt it still. I think Rose is a little too slick and too safe on the feet for Erin to get a TKO, and her grappling is good enough for her to stay safe on the ground. Choosing Rose by decision. And in the main event, Brandon Moreno versus Amir Albazi. My God, let us all fucking pray that Amir Albazi does not win this fucking fight. He's so inactive, personalityless. I know Brandon Moreno has been out for a bit, but the dude was incredibly active, at least in terms of high-profile fights and absolute wars, too. Like, they weren't easy fights against easy competition. So, yeah, I'm going with Brandon Moreno just because I want him to win, and I believe that he can win. Speaking of the competition he's had, he has fought much better competition than Amir Albazi. I know Amir Albazi fought Kai Kara France, and that's definitely his best win, but it's a controversial win. A lot of people thought Kai Kara France won. Some of his earlier wins are good. Zhalgas Zumagulov is a good win, but compared to Figgy and going toe-to-toe with Pantoja, pales in comparison. I've always believed in Brandon Moreno. And I even forgot that he KO'd Kai Kara France because he had such a fucking crazy little streak of opponents there with the belt. So yeah, I think he's all around better than Albazi. By no means do I suggest that Albazi isn't good. I just think Brandon Moreno's better. So yeah, decision for Brandon Moreno.